So, I know this is really old news, but everyone's been asking me to talk about this, so I'm gonna talk about this. Irrational Games is done. Ken Levine abandoned ship, and the company that created Bioshock and Bioshock Infinite is now no more. After they release the final Bioshock Infinite DLC, there will be no further projects by Ken Levine, the mastermind of this game, for Bioshock. My initial reaction to this was, of course, but then I heard that Ken Levine has not exiting the video game industry for good. He's instead leaving 2K Games and working on his own projects. He is not going to work on any further Bioshock games, but in my opinion, that's a good thing, because Bioshock Infinite was a masterpiece and needs no further work. I would love to see further Bioshock games, but I think that Infinite was good enough. I think that alone is just a perfect statement about Bioshock, and you don't need to add any more. Except 2K Games does plan to add more. Bioshock games without Ken Levine? Bioshock is Ken Levine. It is Ken Levine. How can you create a Bioshock game without the mastermind behind the game? Ken Levine is the brain, heart, and soul behind Bioshock. And the fact that 2K plans to keep creating games is blasphemy. Now, I'm not gonna spend this whole video just crying and being upset, because honestly, I'm not a future psychic teller. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm not a psychic. I can't predict if the next Bioshock game is gonna suck. I highly expect that it's gonna suck, because 2K Games, I don't have much faith in a game that isn't gonna have Ken Levine's handprint on it. However, Ken Levine is going to continue making games, and these games will be digitally released games that are heavily story-based. The way he talks about this situation, it almost seems like he abandoned ship right before it was going to sink. It seems like he sensed that the company was going in a direction that was not healthy, and he left. The only thing that really sucks about this is that everyone besides 15 workers is getting laid off. I had the privilege of meeting some awesome people from Irrational Games when I was at Dragon Con, and they were awesome people, and this really sucks because the game development industry is really tough. I mean, it's always been tough, but it seems like there's people being laid off left and right, and the fact that a huge successful company is experiencing these layoffs is a really bad sign for anyone who wants to join game development someday. I guess what we can take from this in terms of game development and economic trends in game development is that really indie development is really the method to go these days, especially when you have a lot of creativity and personal input. And I think Ken Levine is sensing that. A lot of my favorite games these days are indie games, are small companies with very personal input and very story-driven games, and I think this might be a really good move. But I can't help but feel sorry for the company in the way that 2K is headed. It really seems like it's a sinking ship, and I am very, very cautiously afraid of what monster they're going to create with the next Bioshock game that they said that they're going to create without Ken Levine. So those are just my thoughts and reactions to this news. I want to know what your reactions to the news are in the comment section. I know you all wanted to hear from me because obviously Bioshock is one of my favorite games of all time. In fact, Bioshock Infinite pretty much is my favorite game of all time next to Mass Effect. And this news was absolutely devastating to me. But I am not going to be totally heartbroken over this because who knows what the future will hold. Thank you so much for watching. I should go.